Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about all the books I read in June. Now when I say all the books, I really only mean 4. And if you saw my July... No, yes. What? Where am I? If you saw my July TBR, you already know that I got sucked back into the world of Stranger Things, so I did not complete all 6 books on my June TBR. So if you recall, in June I was reading only LGBTQ plus stories. I left the horror behind and just focused on some gay romance and some gay friendships and some gay family ties and So yeah, let's just get right into it because I really enjoyed all of these to some degree. So I'm going to start with my, I guess, least favorite and go up to my most favorite and try to end on a positive note. So my least favorite book for the month, I actually gave 3.5 stars to, which is not bad at all, honestly. That's going to be They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So in all honesty, when I first started this book, I thought it was going to be a DNF. I thought it was going to be a 2-star book. And that's because I didn't enjoy one of the characters at first. So this story follows Mateo and Rufus. Now, I loved Mateo. I saw a lot of myself in his character. I didn't really like Rufus at the beginning because when we are introduced to him, he is in the middle of beating the shit out of somebody. So in this world, there's this company called Deathcast, and they are able to foretell the future, and like after midnight they start making calls to people that are going to die sometime within the next 24 hours. So both Mateo and Rufus both get a call in the middle of the night saying that they're going to die. So it's never explained how this company can foresee these deaths happening, but that's really not the point of the story. So both of these guys are in their teens. They're either 17, 18, or 19, somewhere in that vicinity. And Mateo, he reminds me a lot of myself. He's very quiet, he stays to himself, he is very much a homebody, and he plays it safe all the time in life. And that's what I've done basically my whole life. And so yeah, I really connected with Mateo, and he's very upset that he's going to die, as anyone would be. So he decides to get on this app. I forget what the app's name is called. I think it's Last Friend or something like that. And so he meets up with Rufus. Now, Rufus is very unlikable at first, and a lot of his dialogue is very cringy, and it kind of got on my nerves, and that's basically why I thought I might DNF it. But I'm glad I didn't, because I ended up really liking him. And so both boys end up meeting each other, and they spend their last day together trying to make it memorable. It kind of holds a mirror up to yourself and makes you ask, are you living to your full potential? Because most people in life are not. So that's basically the moral of the story is, you got to live each day as it might be your last. So I really liked this story. It kept me wondering what fate might befall these young men. But it was really a genius move for Adam Silvera to title the book this way, because it ruins the ending. And you know how this story is going to end, but you still want to root for both of these boys. It makes you wonder how they're going to die, and you don't want them to die, but you know they're going to. And yeah, it was a really good story. I thought it was a little long. There are chapters devoted to like side characters, and so you get a little perspective from their friends, and I thought that was very unnecessary. Some of them are important to the story, a lot of them are not, but I think that's why I gave it 3.5 stars. That plus Rufus's character in the beginning. But yeah, if you ever get a chance to read it, check it out. Would you want to know that you're going to die that day? I don't think I would. That's all I gotta say. I love the cover. So this next story I've owned for like 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm so glad I finally read it. That's Camp by LC Rosen. I gave this one 4 stars. So this is a story about 16-year-old boy named Randy, who every summer since he was 12, he's been attending this camp called Camp Outland, and it is a camp for queer teens. and he has made a lot of friends at this camp. Well, he also fell in love with this boy named Hudson, and he decides that he's going to make Hudson fall in love with him this year. And the only way to do so is by changing who he is, like completely. He changes his name to Dell. He becomes more masculine looking. He becomes involved in sports when normally he would be in the theater wearing fingernail polish. So camp has a lot to say about acceptance of others, and it also is about friendship and staying true to yourself no matter what happens. I mean, you can't really change yourself and expect to land the man of your dreams and it work out, right? The reason I gave this one 4 stars, I don't want to come off as a prude or anything, because let's be honest, I am far from that, okay? But it was a little bit off-putting to read a sex scene between 2 teenage boys. It was fine, but I was a little bit taken aback by that, and it was kind of graphic, so I don't know. I like I said, I'm not a prude, but I guess I just don't like sex in my books. Like, it didn't work for me in Queen of Teeth or Goddess of Filth, and it didn't really work for me in camp either, unfortunately. But I did still really enjoy this story because Dale, aka Randy, has a great camaraderie with his friends who are also gay, non-binary, and there's a lot of different representations in this story. I'm going to talk about a little bit of a spoiler, so if you don't want to know anything about this book, if you plan on reading it, skip ahead to the next book I'm going to talk about. But if you don't plan on reading this, then stick around. So Hudson is a masculine boy, okay? And Dale was not, but he's pretending to be. That's totally fine. And so he does, his plan works. And so he starts a relationship with Hudson, you know, and the camp lasts like 4 weeks, I think. So he has plenty of time to make his plan work, but it takes no time to do so. So it goes through the whole story with Randy pulling off this scheme. And once it comes out that, you know, Dale's Randy and he's pretending to be somebody he's not, obviously Hudson is not going to like that, as no one would, you know. But I would rather have seen this story play out a little differently after that, because it turns out that Hudson is a closeted, I don't know what you would even say. He secretly wished that he could wear nail polish and wear flamboyant outfits and stuff like that. He doesn't do it because his parents wouldn't approve. But from a story perspective, I think it would have been a lot more interesting if he wasn't secretly closeted about wearing flamboyant stuff and nail polish and all that stuff. It just would have been more believable to me personally. However, it was a really good story. I would definitely recommend it if you are into gay literature. And yes, check it out. So these last 2 books were both 5-star reads for me, and it was really hard to put one above the other. But I think in the number 2 spot, I'm going to put The GUNCLE by Stephen Rowley. So this story was so adorable, so cute. This is about a middle-aged gay man. Thank you for once. That is very underrepresented in literature for some reason. Anyway, so it's about this former actor who lives in Palm Springs. His family lives in Connecticut. So his brother's wife used to be Patrick's best friend back in college. And then, you know, she married and had kids and stayed in Connecticut while Patrick lived his dream and became an actor. It sort of reminded me like he was on a show like Friends, you know. And so once that ended, he stayed in Palm Springs and basically isolated himself because his former love, Joe, passed away and he never really got over it. Fast forward to the present, and his sister-in-law has died. So his brother reveals to him that he needs him to take his children for the summer while he goes to rehab, because while the wife was going through this illness, he became addicted to pills to help himself get through it. And it was just a really touching story. Patrick is called Gup for Gay Uncle Patrick, and that's what GUNCLE means, gay uncle. And he has a really good relationship with the niece and nephew. Well, sort of. You know, he's kind of almost a stranger to them in a way because he rarely saw them. But he's so funny. Patrick is my favorite character of the year so far. If you saw my mid-year book freakout tag, you already know that. He was just very bitchy, but not in a mean way. It's very snarky. It was all cute, and it's like, what? Ew, no. And he just treated the niece and nephew like they were mini adults. So he's trying to help the kids grieve the loss of their mother while enjoying their summer, you know, trying to do both. And it's also trying to help him with his own grief regarding his lost love, Joe. And it's just a very good story. I loved it. It's unlike any book I've ever read before, and I'm so glad that I read it. I really enjoyed this one, and I can't praise it enough. So if you ever read any of these, I would probably recommend this one. So my absolute favorite for the month is going to be Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. I really love this story. It is about 4 teenage gay friends. It's the summer before their senior year. So they are all going to different parts of the country for the summer for different reasons. So one is going to Washington, D.C. to be like an intern at Congress or something. And another one is going to Boston to volunteer at this nonprofit to save trees. And these two, they kind of have a love connection, but not love. It's more like a friends with benefit type thing with a little bit of feelings. And they struggle with their feelings for each other. The other 2 boys, one is named Reese. He's off to Paris for the summer to go to this graphic design school, but he ends up changing his major halfway. And the guy he's kind of interested in is named Heath, who is sent off to Florida, Daytona Beach to be more specific, to spend the summer with his cousin and his aunt because his parents are going through a divorce. So all 4 of these boys are struggling with their own dilemmas, and it's so good to see them branch out and make other friendships and love connections and discover more about themselves and how they really feel about each other. This book was so sweet. It's very fast-paced, and honestly, it made me cry a few times. I don't really cry unless it's like a gay love story, and no matter which way it goes, whether it works out for them or not, it's like I can't help it. The waterworks just come, okay? And I'm okay with that. So I really loved all 4 boys in this story. I really loved how it played out. And it's supposed to be a series, I think. So I'm really looking forward to reading the next one. Okay, my friends, that is it. Those are all the books I read in June. So I do plan to read the last 2 from my June TBR this month in July, as well as finishing up my Richard Matheson short stories that I didn't get to in May. And I'm also going to be buddy reading my first read this month with Craig over at Shelf Possessed. We're going to be reading The Chain by Adrian McKenty. You already know all this stuff because I know you're watching all my videos, right? So let me know down in the comments what you read for Pride Month. If you read any gay stories, I would love to know. I know a lot of people are reading Heartstopper, the graphic novel series right now, and I have not read any of those. Maybe I will read those next year in June. I'll be behind as usual, but hey, I'm okay with that. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.